Give me a D and a G. It's the Dawg and Gus Show. It's the Dawg and Gus Show.
Hey, coffee lovers, Dawg here to tell you about our favorite new brew, Green Army Coffee.
That's right, Dawg. Green Army Coffee isn't just delicious, it's coffee with a mission. They're veteran-owned, and every cup supports those who serve.
You can taste the dedication in every roast. Whether you're fueling up for the day or winding down, they've got the perfect blend for you.
And it's not just great coffee, it's a way to give back. Supporting Green Army Coffee means you're supporting our troops and their families.
So what are you waiting for? Grab a bag, sip smart, and support a great cause.
Check them out at www.greenarmycoffee.ca. Green Army Coffee, brewed for those who serve. Hey, Dawg, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart.
We're super stoked to invite Jake Demarsh back for another great chat. He's a great advocate for sobriety and community. We hope you enjoy this episode. Be sure to follow us on all our socials, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Odd Dog. Have a great week.
Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show.
That took a little break there. Are you okay?
Nope.
You're like, I gotta press this button.
I have to press this button to record.
What's going on? We've got a nice guest that's been with us a couple times.
Yeah, it's our buddy. It's our good buddy, Jake Demarsh.
Hey, Jake.
Great to have you here.
Yeah, we always love talk. Thank you. Yeah, we're getting a little game going, like trying to look like the real deal.
Even our glasses match.
Nice. I had them first.
Well, he did. Gus and I liked them a lot. And then Gus says, get a pair. And I said, okay. I said, but I want red.
And he got red.
And I got red.
Yeah, and they're prescription.
Nope. They make me see good.
You didn't really answer the question. You just went, no. Yeah, they're prescription. So they're kind of handy. I wanted like sort of a slight tint, as you can see. And then Dawg was like, I'm getting red ones. And I'm like, of course you are. Yep. That's who you are. So
good. That's branding 101 right there.
You know what, brother? Speaking of branding, looking good in your Bush shirt.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't wear mine because that would have been awkward.
Oh, it would have been cool.
And I got a hat too.
Oh my goodness. Nice. Katniss, yeah. Look at your boy.
Yeah. She's a
That's
legend.
awesome.
So all least I can do is rep a shirt.
She's great. She's a wonderful individual, and she's doing really good work.
Awesomeness.
Oh, yeah. Did you use the Dawg and Gus promo when you bought it?
Is that still a thing?
I can't remember when I bought this. If I did, I doubt it. I mean, I probably just paid her.
Yeah. Sorry.
She might have even given this to me for free. I think I bought the hat, and I think she gave me this.
Yeah, she would do that, actually. She's a gem. We love her on the show.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what's going on with you?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
What's going on with you, Jake Demarsh?
Oh man, keeping busy, doing the advocacy stuff. Doing kind of a lot of like little stuff behind the scenes, meeting with people personally that have had struggles with addiction and kind of connecting people in certain ways and working with a couple different organizations and stuff in the community. So it's been really beneficial. It's been, pretty great to build these kind of connections in the community. So not just for the music aspect, but for just networking and getting to meet new people. Like I had the opportunity to play that Empower to Recover event. It's like a national organization in Canada that goes all over and does that kind of thing with the people that struggle with not only addiction but a bunch of different things. They've had like people that have told their stories about human trafficking and a whole bunch of other just different adversities that people face, and so it's really a unique type of thing. So it was really cool to be a part of that. But yeah, we've got we haven't announced it officially yet, but my friend and I, Elizabeth Royale, she's nominated for Newcomer of the Year. Great artist, great person. It's been a pleasure working with her. We're just in the planning stages of putting together a benefit concert, and so that'll be happening 4-ish months from now. So we're just planning that out, and I expect you to be there.
I can't guarantee I'll be there, but Dawg will go.
You've got 4 months
To ask?
to make up good points with your partner to
Yeah.
get there. I have 4 months to remember to be there.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
You put in your
I'll send
schedule
you a
now.
Google Calendar invite.
You know,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, Mr. Demarsh said I shall be there.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you will. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'd love to be there. I just, especially because of, my addiction story too. So it's wonderful that you're doing these things. I know that maybe is that charity event going to be for that?
It's well, I'm working alongside Elizabeth, and we both kind of put our heads together what would be a meaningful cause that kind of means something for both of us, and we came up with YSB, which is the Ottawa Youth Services for homeless with youth and stuff like that. So I'm kind of the mindset, like, you drive down King Edward and you see all these people and stuff. It's like, well, how do you prevent that from happening? And I think it's like you cut it off at the source, right? Where these young kids, a lot of times they're struggling and going through a whole bunch of different things and whatnot, trouble at home, and I think that it's specifically for the mental health sector of YSB, because I think that's important that they have enough financial resources to be able to combat that. Because I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to therapy, but it ain't cheap, So just
No, it ain't.
Being able to shed some light on that as well in the community, that there is needs like this, and we hope to try to make it an annual thing if this goes well, where we pick different causes and stuff like that. Once a year, we do this kind of special thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'd be fun, and I like kind of planning these things out. So I've never really done too much of this before in terms of, like, I put on one show with Not My Enemy before with Will and everything, but yeah, I mean, people like music. They like helping other people if you give them the opportunity to do so, and we plan on doing that. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Cool. So when is it going to be officially out, and then you're going to start your push, like on Facebook and Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, so like we're literally just had a meeting with another gentleman from Double Experience, Brock.
Well, yeah, we
You
know
guys
Brock.
him.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he's a good dude. He was helping us kind of, go over some of the details and kind of help us bounce ideas off and figure out what's important to do and what's not. What does it mean to us? What we want to do. But yeah, to answer your question, we're just basically compiling like a press release and stuff. I put out some feelers to a few different institutions and radio stations and things like that to help promote it. Stuff like that. It's just getting the word out, right? Kind of that whole, like, you build it, they will come, hopefully, if they're not busy.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I feel if you give them enough time, especially, in the music business, we were just talking about this before, like there's certain dates that are coming up that are just like jam packed full of people doing shows. So I feel like you need to get it out there as soon as you can. So people go, oh yeah, I need to block that off on my calendar.
Yeah, there's probably people that will want to come. And we had this idea of doing like something like support tickets. So like if you can't come, we're going to start like a GoFundMe kind of pledge. So you can pledge for a ticket even though you won't be able to go. And then we'll use that slush to, help go to the cause and everything else. So I think that's because I know there's like plenty of people back home where I'm from that would definitely want to come but won't be able to because it's 4 or 5 hours away. So
That's not a bad
look
idea
at
at
this,
all.
eh? I still got it.
Yay!
Yeah.
I actually recorded a song with this pick that my friend Jessica and I are working on. That song that you guys heard, obviously she starts the intro of the song.
Mm-hmm.
She sang on Dreams as well, and so we're starting to work a little bit more together. And obviously, you guys know she's a great singer.
Pretty good, yeah.
We do.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I use this pick to record the guitar for another song that we're working on together.
So in the credits, you'll have our name down
Yeah,
there.
can we get production?
exactly.
Equipment,
Pick
equipment,
used.
Pat.
Yeah.
Equipment used. Dog and Gus.
Equipment producer.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want shit.
Yeah.
We love that you used it, though. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Where does this feeling of giving back so much come from? Like, obviously, I'm
Yeah.
of the same idea that, like, as you became, like, I think when I became sober, I worked myself out of that situation as best as I can, and still work it every day, as we all know. But my idea was like, now you can do community service and help others, and youth services is huge, because I think you made a great point that if you can cut it off at the early stages of possibly stopping someone from getting into something and then getting into the next thing, and as we know, it goes on and on. But where does that come from?
Well, yeah, for me personally, it comes from, so many times in my life I used, these dangerous drugs like fentanyl and these things, right? And overdosed and these things. And so it just kind of comes from that, like, knowing how bad people are off in that world. And I feel like I kind of owe it, been given a chance, right? So I feel like I kind of owe it to those people to share the story that people can get out of that. I mean, it's like, very often I'll be going through my Facebook and I'll see an old person I used to know, and I'll go and, go on their page, and it's like, RIP, blah, 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 blah. And they've passed on, right? It just, my buddy Jesse, I just found out, passed away from overdose, and he was just about to get clean. So, like, people are really struggling with that, and it's a real battle for people. And so I just feel like I kind of, I feel spared, and I feel like it's kind of like my sense of purpose comes from just sharing what I've been through, and trying to be as vulnerable as possible, and allowing people to kind of connect with me on that level. And and hopefully maybe it helps a few people, know that people can change. And I mean, it's sometimes to break the stigmas around addiction, right? Because when you see somebody that's on the street and then you see them get clean, all of a sudden they're like a whole brand new person. A great example of that, I've worked with this organization called SOS. They're basically an outfit that brings boots on the ground, clothing, items, and things like that. They go out every Saturday around 11, and they walk downtown. They go around and they hand out stuff. But the leader of that was actually homeless for, like, I think 2 years, and you wouldn't even recognize the guy. Big beard, and skinny, and addicted to drugs and alcohol and whatnot. But now, you would not recognize him. It's like a completely day and night difference. And so yeah, so there, I think that will help break some of the stigmas when people see the the contrast of where you were and where you are now, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's great. It's and I find that it's more prevalent now. Not that addiction hasn't been around forever, but I'm just seeing a lot more people trying to come in and see and find the way to get sober. And I think it's important, right? So I think it's great that you keep that in mind when you're doing your community events and thinking about where you were and where you are.
Yeah.
So it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful too. And I mean, I know if you've ever been in a 12-step kind of mentality, that like once you kind of go through all the steps, the last is kind of service, right? And
Yep.
so I've never really been huge on meetings. I have obviously gone to them, but I'm kind of just doing those things,
Day to day.
just how I am, I guess. But yeah, no, it's been really rewarding too. It's obviously really nice to be able to give back, and and do those types of things as well. But that's kind of the driving force behind my music and everything else, is kind of using that as a vehicle to share the story of hope, and people need hope, right? So
Totally. Hope
yeah.
is the only way.
Well, and people are waking up as well to kind of like the effects of things like alcohol. Like, I mean, Ireland just passed a law stating they need to put warning labels on alcohol and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, if places like where it's so ingrained in their culture of drinking in pubs and things like that, I mean, I think that's a brave step in a new direction where people can have like a physical thing to see, like, oh, this is bad. Like, look what they do with cigarettes. It's like, you know, the label, and then everything else is a big, like, this is going to kill you kind of thing, right? So
Yeah, they don't
people
even
are
do that
slowly
anymore.
starting to wake up to
Like,
the dangers of even the stuff that's more socially acceptable. So
yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. Dog and I like don't drink, so, and you know, like when we go to an event, and maybe separately or whatever, and so you know, it's people like I say I don't drink, you know, and they're just like, why? It's like,
yeah,
you know, it's like, it's sort of a, if it was a comedian, I think Jim Gaffigan or something, is like, you don't drink, why? And then he's like, you never hear that anymore. You don't use mayonnaise, why? You know, it's like, well, it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
it's a choice. It's a life. It's like
exactly,
saved my life that I got sober. So it makes sense.
exactly.
Yeah, but people don't. I think it's so like socially accepted that it's actually, like you just said, it's like they need to put these warning labels on it because you know, take it, you know, all your anything bad to your body that you could do, not just, you know, die for one, but also,
Yeah,
you know, you're obese, or you got, you know, the beer face or whatever it is. Like, it's all coming from all the sugar that you've had in this alcohol. So it's a health thing too. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
we
and
could
I
talk
think
for a long time about that for
most
sure.
issues in society come, I would say, from some type of addiction or drug abuse. Like, I would say a lot of violent crimes happen because of alcohol or drugs, domestic violence, um, you know, so many other things other than just, like, say, somebody's health. Like, it just has, you know, a rippling effect of negative consequences on society as well.
Yeah,
You know, like when I was in jail, like a lot of the people in there are either like addicted to like selling drugs or addicted to drugs themselves, and in there for crimes directly related to those things. So I think if like we really focused on the solution, you know, not the outcome kind of thing, that we would probably be in a lot better place as a society for sure.
definitely.
Well, the more
Yeah.
we talk about it, the more you talk about it, the more people talk about it, the stigma starts to, it's not going to disappear for a while, but it's a good start. Like, we know that, excuse me, in this industry, we're talking to people every day now that are starting, you know what, I quit drinking. I just realized I've had enough and I don't need it, you know, to do what I do. And then we have other friends that are younger who think that that's the reason why they're in a band, because they need to drink to be in the band. It's like, no, dude, you don't. You're a talented individual. You don't need the alcohol to make friends, to be with people and have a good time. And some people are still struggling with that. So it's good that we got a Jake Demarsh out there and others saying, hey, man, you can get clean and still do your music that you love and still be, you know, a person that people want to hang around with.
Totally.
Exactly. Yeah.
Such a
And
culture.
totally. And that was kind of an interesting point to that, was like, you know, I didn't realize it until I got sober and started playing like live shows, how much I relied on alcohol and drugs to feel calm in front of a crowd. And even to this day, like, I've played a lot of shows now since I've been clean, and like I mean, getting nerves, I think a little bit is normal, but like I can definitely see it dissipating from the time. But it's taken like, you know, 5 years to be able to get to that point, you know, where I feel comfortable in front of people and playing, like, you know, with like, shut off all those voices that tell you, you know, you suck, you're no good, you know,
Yeah.
nobody likes you. You should go back to the basement. Stuff like that, you know. But you know, those kind
Don't
of
do
thoughts
that. You're great.
as an artist creep in sometimes, you know. But alcohol and drugs just subdued all those, and I just didn't care, right? So I remember when COVID was lifted or whatever, the ban, and when played at Elgin, and I was like, after, I was just buzzing from the, you know, that the anxiousness or the dopamine or whatever it was, nerves, and yeah. So I don't get that as much anymore, which is nice to not feel like you're having a mental breakdown. But
It's a pleasant feeling when you're
Yes.
not,
Yeah. When
Yeah.
you're in control.
when you're controlled, like
Yeah.
not like that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
What are you listening to these days? Is there an artist that you're kind of connecting with?
That's a good question. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Hosier recently. Been his new album Unreal on Earth is really great. I mean, he's an amazing artist. I saw him at one of the festivals there. He was here.
I think it was
don't
City
think it was
Folk
last
Fest.
summer. Yeah, it wasn't last summer. It was the
No, summer
that, I
before.
think?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to say because it feels like last summer.
Goes
How the
fast.
time goes, man. I'm trying to think of who else, and like I try to like put on the Spotify like shuffle sometimes, and like try to get to stuff that's, or like sometimes I'll listen to a song of mine and let it play through to like the radio suggested song that comes after me, and then I'll go on a deep dive there and see, kind of in my niche who's around, what do they sound like, what are they doing, kind of thing. So I try to do that as well. But I listen to a lot of my own mixes in my car, to be honest. A lot of like audio files on my phone, trying to learn how to do production and stuff like that right now. So been banging my head on the wall trying to figure that out.
Fair enough.
But
That's
I saw Lazy Long too as well. He's doing a lot of content around doing production, recording, and stuff like that at his place. So
Yeah.
told him I got to come out there and say what's up and pick his brain and see what he's got going on there. So it's like
He's a
pretty
good guy.
cool setup.
It's great. It's great to have that to look onto. Like, hey, boys, just post it up on Facebook. Hey, I'm kind of struggling with this post production stuff or whatever, and you'll get some of the guys. Hey, we can help you with that. We can do this. Call me.
Yeah,
And that's what I like
definitely.
about this too. Is like, well, not for us because we don't, we're not musicians, but I'm pretty sure if we said we're struggling with some kind of thing with our podcast, I'm sure the other podcasters out there that we talk to would, offer up some helpful hints.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
No, we don't listen. There's no other podcast. All right. I'm just kidding. No, it's there's the ego for you. It's true. Totally the communal feel of the music here in Ottawa, and obviously, like Dawg said, if we needed something from, because I think Warren's asked us a few things, and then we kind of asked Warren a couple things too. I mean, he's doing great stuff, so it's fun to watch him, and it's a totally community. I love that.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and I think I've always kind of had this mentality of it like being community, not competition, and I think that that's really important to understand. I feel like some people have maybe the tendency more so to feel guarded around like stuff around music or like working with other people or whatever, but I think the sooner that you realize that you're all in it together kind of idea, there's no teams in this sort of thing, that you can all benefit and all help each other out. Like there's a part of a songwriter circle there a little while ago, with Cyrus from
Finely tuned elephant and Valvehead.
yes, and many other things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was great, man. It was super cool, super laid back, and I believe he's actually doing them every Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's the last Sunday of the month.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
He just had one yesterday.
So that's super cool. Oh, where did you go?
No, I didn't make it out to this one, but I made it out to yours.
Yeah, you did, and I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun to watch.
When people to show up. Yeah, it was cool, eh? Like he was telling me it's sort of like an East Coast thing. Apparently, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's way more intimate than a show feels.
Mm-hmm.
There's like conversation amongst the artists, and I mean, it was a weird feeling for me. I'd never done anything like that, but yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to sit there and listen to other singers, songwriters give you feedback. You know what I mean? Like you can see, because I was watching them when you were singing, when Cyrus was doing his thing, and the others, and they're all just kind of nodding their head and they're smiling. And when they get to a certain point, they're kind of like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." So they're like so focused and into it that I was enjoying just watching everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely more interesting having a bunch of people up there at the same time. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really like
he's
that song
slightly
he
he's
played on
slightly
piano there.
talented too, eh?
Cyrus,
Slightly.
he's a little bit talented.
He knows a couple things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a really talented guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he got nominated or won something last year at the Capitol Music Awards for like a production arrangement or something like that.
I
So,
think he. I don't. I looked at the nominees
I
for
don't know if
this
he
year.
won.
I don't. I think he might be again in the production award category. Did he win
Yeah.
last year?
I don't think he won.
No,
I
because we
think
were.
he was nominated, but he didn't win. I think it was.
it's rigged. No, I'm just kidding.
We're still waiting for the podcast category.
yeah, exactly. But Warren will win
Well,
it
it's
then.
it's growing, and I think that's really cool. I mean, these guys at Oh Mike are really doing a great job at
Yeah.
hyping up this music community and getting people excited about being a part of it. And you know,
CMAs are
it's
a great
great.
event.
I mean, because like if you go to Toronto, this kind of stuff. I don't know if they have things. I'm sure they do though, but they have lots of things going on there, and it maybe sometimes feels overwhelming in a big city like that. So I think what we have here in Ottawa is really special because I think it's a city of what 1.5 million people or million something.
We're
like
over
that.
just over 1 million, I think now.
Yeah, I
over a
mean,
million,
there's
so-
there's skewed numbers. It says 1 million on the sign, but I think it's probably closer to 1.1, 1.2. But
Yeah.
you don't know anymore.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I know. I just know I'm one of them. That's all I know.
Yeah,
You're one?
my
Yeah.
household has 4, so
Yeah.
we're there. There's 4 of
Okay.
us there.
So there's at least 6.
6 total.
Except I don't even live in Ottawa.
Are you in Quebec now?
Yeah, I've been in Quebec.
Quebec?
Quebexico.
Yeah,
Quebec.
With all the guys at
Quebexico.
work, guys at the work say that all the time.
yeah.
Always ragging on Quebec. I didn't realize there was so much tensions towards Quebec because I'm from Southern Ontario. When I heard somebody speaking French behind me when I first got here, I was like,
Oh yeah.
it's so exotic.
Wow.
Why
say ça?
What is that? A quacker? No, I don't know. I think it's deep rooted. I mean, there's a lot of English that don't really like French, and a lot of French that don't like English. So it's just the way it's deep rooted. It's almost like a racist thing, but it's not.
This is me saying no. Let's not talk about that.
Why?
But it's funny. It's
It's
actually
not.
because like I have had great experiences with the French media. I've emailed like so many college community radio stations trying to get an answer back to like, hey, will you play my track? Blah blah blah. I emailed Christelle Amour, I think her name is, or something, from the CBC IRC. It's the Quebec version of CBC, I guess, or whatever. And she's part of the arts and culture kind of thing. And she was the one who helped promote the song during the year I was nominated for Newcomer of the Year in 2023, I think. And so I thought, you know what, that's pretty nice. And I didn't really get that reciprocation from other college community radios. I mean, I got on a friggin' Irish community radio station before I got on any of the other ones as an interview.
It's
So I
hilarious.
just did that last week. I was on Roscommon 94.6 or 96.4 FM. So that was interesting.
That's funny and good. I love
I
that.
had a great time.
Great team.
Was he like? Did you have challenges like understanding him?
No, she's good. She's the girl who does it is Sierra Lawless is an artist herself. We met on Threads. She just put out a post, hey, I'm doing a show.
Oh, nice.
And I was on that. Like, yeah.
Cool.
those
I'll
are my
take that.
people. I did a
Exactly.
23andMe. Found out who my ancestors are. It's crazy because they're like, yeah, you're from like this county, most likely. Because I was adopted, right? So people are always asking me, oh, what's your ethnicity? Where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And so I was tired of saying I was adopted. So I was like, now I can say I'm, 23% Ethiopian. I don't know how these things work, man.
Is
but
it
it's hilarious.
23% Ethiopian?
No.
I'm like,
but
holy
I'm like
shit.
1% like weird Eastern European or something. I don't know, like Czech or Slavic. I don't know.
Russian.
The Russian. You're from Kazakhstan.
Maybe.
Just because I
I
wanted to
don't
say
know.
Kazakhstan.
It's funny how it works, and
Spell
like
it.
every day I get
K.
an update. It's like you have 23 new relatives.
And they all want
It's
to come
like
to Canada.
it's like yeah, exactly. Yeah, 5% match in your DNA. It's like, well,
Yeah.
there's billions of bits of information in a DNA strand, so 5%, you're like, like you're like my 10th cousin or something, like way down the line. So, because at one point I did want to and I still do. I still want to try to like search for my my birth mom and try to just meet them, see how that goes, right? But with me too, though, it was a closed adoption, right? So like in the 80s, they didn't have what they have now, where it's like open and you can kind of know who has them and kind of be involved in their lives a lot more and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more of a struggle, and I think it's kind of left to like be kind of open ended. Like you put out a request, fill out an application, they get it submitted to them, saying that you want to meet them, and then it kind of whether or not they want to, you'll be kind of either accepted or rejected, as far as I understand. So so we'll see
Interesting.
how it goes. I mean, it'd be definitely an interesting road to go down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't
I
hurt.
would imagine it would be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
cool to try and figure that, like, have that connection now, especially because you don't really need them other than the actual emotional connection, right? So
Yeah, and like what's crazy too is I could have like a bunch of like half siblings that are like, you know,
yeah.
uh,
Do you want to hear?
half relatives
Do you want to
and
hear a
stuff like that.
crazy story for 20? Like just in
Yeah.
in my family. So my mom's 83 years old, and so about 7 years ago, she gets a message on Facebook that she didn't check for 2 years, but it says, "Listen, I did this thing, and we have the same father, and I'm in England." And she didn't check it for 2 years because you wouldn't look at your, like, how they go into some other
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
And my mom's not that. She's pretty savvy with everything, but so finally they connect and have a discussion, and my mother told me that your father was there deployed, and this was in England in 1940. He was in World War II, and met a lady, and had a night, and then obviously something happened, and 70 something years later, my mom found out she has a half sister in England.
Crazy.
And we've met her a bunch of times, and she's a lovely woman. But at first I was like, my grandfather, like, really, he cheated on my grandma? And then my partner Megan's like, he was in World War II. The next day he could have been dead, right? So you just never, you don't think, like, you think, oh, he cheated on her, but no, you're in war, and you had a little leave where you went to a pub and had a night, dancing and things that they did there back then, And then, so 75 years later, my mom's like, oh, I got a sister. And she went to England and met her, and then she's been here. It's pretty crazy, eh?
That is insane.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times that's happened.
A lot.
Too, eh?
A
Yeah,
lot,
I would
especially
imagine.
then, right? Like, because, and maybe some of them are dead or whatever, but like you think, okay, it's the wartime. Of course they had meetups, and an English woman fell in love with a very charming Irish Canadian. And like it's my grandfather was super charming and like an Irish Canadian. He was really a solid guy. I love him. Like, he was my favorite person growing up. But it was interesting it's just interesting that we can do that now, like with DNA and all that. So it's cool. Like you said, if you were able to find that connection and then find out if you had siblings, it would be you'd be cool. It'd be like something that you can have now, right?
Yeah, because like I got like very little information on that, really. Like I guess it back then they were done through a lawyer. At least this one was. And so they were just saying, like, his mom is this or his dad, like different, maybe like small, like little health concerns or something like that. But like my dad was just kind of like writing it down on the phone as he was talking, kind of idea. Like it just rattled off a list. And so you don't really know a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be
Crazy.
definitely something to look into. But I meant to say nice shirt.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's just black, so I'm sure mine's not really that nice a shirt.
It's a nice shirt, bro. You're looking good.
Well, you can't see what's on it because it's kind of gray.
What band is this from, Dog?
I don't remember.
It's from Super Kyle's birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, it was the second group.
Oh, man. Now I have to go back and remember who was playing.
Yeah, they're like, you want this rum and ass hat shirt? It's like, yes.
That's not Don't Tell. That wasn't Don't Tell Sarah, was it?
No, I think it was.
It's good advertising.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was like, it was, he's like, I'm like, you sure you want to give me this? I don't really drink. Like, I don't really want to, I don't drink. So why? But he's like, oh, it's drum and bass, bro. He just says rum and ass when you cross out the things with the sticks. Yeah, it's a good t-shirt. I like it.
Well,
Yeah.
First time I've worn it.
Yes. He pulled it out of his suitcase here of shirts that he has here.
I have a suitcase full of nice merch that we've gotten over the years. Yeah.
A couple I didn't recognize.
Few.
He's trying to tell me one. I was like, where'd you get that one from? He goes, well, that show that we saw with those guys. And I'm like, okay. I remember that.
That narrows it down for sure.
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah. Well, it should, because the amount of shows that we've seen together as opposed to the amount of shows I've seen is kind of.
Yeah, it's true.
Speaking of shows, have you guys been hired to correspond for the friggin' CMAs or what?
No.
Haven't heard anything. Super Kyle was getting a lot of push. We only had a couple of people suggest us, so we didn't get as many as Super.
Hosting it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are probably.
No, I don't think so. It'd be nice to.
No, I didn't mean host. I meant like those people that go on the red carpet and talk to the people that come in.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're going to do that.
That would be.
We did
that
last
last year.
year.
That anyway, whether they let you or not.
Well, yeah.
You know, you should just show up with a mic and a video and just be like, "Hey, how are you feeling? Are you nominated for anything this evening?"
Yeah.
You know? Make
That's not
content.
a bad idea.
I have my.
Why not?
Yeah, we have the capabilities. Just need a video. I got the mic and the recorder.
I'll come film it for you.
There you go.
Yeah, we just use
I
a phone.
got a Vimble too. Steady cam.
Damn, I've got the mic, the Rode mic that I can attach to a microphone. Goes into the phone.
I also have that recorder that I bought.
Yeah, that's more for like podcasting on the go, right?
No, but it's also you can do interviews. You can plug a microphone right into the bottom.
It's like a Zoom mic, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I have one that has a video too as well, and you can use it for either like XLRs and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But
sounds like a lot of work.
I was thinking about starting. I did one podcast there with my friend, but he's just been so busy. My buddy Ziggy. I don't know if you guys know of him, but the guy from Zesties.
No.
Yeah, he does a lot of work in the homeless community, kind of boots on the ground, and goes and hands out Timmy's cards, and he does a whole bunch of stuff with clothing and putting on events and like food events and stuff like that. So
that's great.
I was gonna do something with him. We had some pretty good chemistry, but he lives kind of on the West End, and it's hard to get together. We were gonna try to do it every 2 weeks or something, and talk about more like mental health stuff directly, or like different things going on politically. Like, you know, like I saw a quote from like Doug Ford saying, you know, like, oh, if we go downtown and you see those people not working, like we're gonna, like, you know, kick their ass into gear kind of thing, like this like tough love kind of mentality. I'm just thinking like, man, that is the most out of touch thing that I could think. If you're able-bodied, it's like, yeah, but it's usually not their body that's the issue, it's their mind that's all messed up. So
yeah, traditionally when they're homeless, yeah,
well, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, are you going to provide a service so that like people that have had no ID for like however long, or haven't had a job record for however long, are you going to help them get work? Where are they going to work? You know?
Yeah.
So it's just a very
traditional politician
idea
jargon.
Of how it works. You know, they started getting rid of the safe injection sites. And I never really knew how I feel about that, but I would imagine that they are safer, obviously. They were worried about them near schools because they were having, you know, like people were finding needles and stuff around.
Yeah.
Like, well, if you take them away, where do you think where's it going to end up now? You know, without a bio bin or whatever. So
yeah.
It's just
container.
The problem was, I think it was, you would have, like, it is good to have those, I think, for people that are using, but also they would just end up, like you said, they end up in these slides, or like, you know, the tunnel slides, and shoot up in there, and then, you know, hang out in there, and then the kids can't really, you don't want your kids going to play
on a structure
Oh,
like
totally.
with
I
them,
understand that completely. Yeah.
No, and
Yeah, for sure.
I'm all for safe sites because hopefully there's also information to get sober.
Of
There's got
course,
to
they're
be.
better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would have it sort of like as a place where you can go, but like you need an answer to get out of it. And that's up to the
That's just it.
individual, as we know, but it's also if you show them enough information and what you can do, and I think that's important. I think there is an epidemic of fentanyl and usage right now because of we see all these deaths all the time, and they're usually young people, and then they end up, doing it once or even doing it for a long time and ending up like dying, and it's the worst.
Oh yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's getting mixed a lot into a lot of other products because these things get passed around, and because it's so powerful of a thing, it can really be detrimental to people that are even just coming in contact with like trace amounts of it.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah, and
carfentanil, whatever. Like you have a guy that weighs like I know a guy personally who had a guy who was selling it, living at his place, and I mean, this guy's like a pretty well-to-do guy. Like he had his own house, he had a career at one point as well. Like he was fairly well off, but he did coke a lot, and I think he smoked some crack or whatever. And one night he found a piece of it, thought it was crack, put it in his pipe and smoked it. It was fentanyl. He died
yeah,
just like that. Went to sleep, never woke up. So yeah, it's pretty crazy world that people are living in, dabbling with drugs and stuff in these times. It's definitely not the '60s,
no,
little
because
marijuana
yeah,
and
exactly.
a couple drinks or whatever. It's not the same anymore. It's very, very different.
Yeah,
So I
it's
think
tough.
the more information we can provide people, the better off we will be as a society. Because yeah, people need to be basically, when you're in that kind of lifestyle, you almost need to be like pushed in your face, like, hey, you could change, right? There's options other than just living how you're living, right?
That's what I mean
So
by with all that information right there in the spot that you're able to be safe and use is there should be. I would just make that whole room full of information of how to get clean, and like
exactly.
I think that the whole point of safe sites is obviously they don't want them to be doing it in the streets or anything like dirty needles and all that, but you need to have you got to get them out of it, like you got to get them away from it. So having info and having it just like all over the place, like you said, just gets their mind thinking, even though we know how it is. It's like you're not thinking about that while you're trying to do your drugs, but you're at least you see it, and it sort of gets into that mental capacity, hopefully. But
Hopefully, yeah. It was funny. I saw another article. I was going to speak on it. I think I did actually make a video about it, but it was like somewhere in Canada, if it was out east, New Brunswick or something, they were actually like gonna like forcefully round up like people that were like hardcore known addicts, and then just force them into treatment. They were trying to get legislation passed to make it legal there. I can't remember if it was in New Brunswick or where, but I just remember thinking like, well, I guess you guys don't understand how addiction works at all. I mean, if that worked, jails would work. People would come out rehabilitated, right? But the problem is it's not abstinence from drugs that's the issue. It's the hole in your heart and your soul that's broken that you need to address, right? Like it's those things that need to be looked at in introspection and really figure that out, right? Like it took me 4 different treatment centers over the course of 12 years to figure out why I was, filling that void with all these substances trying to escape reality, right? So let's hope they don't do that. I feel like that's just a train wreck waiting to happen. So hopefully they
yeah,
can just, instead of implementing something like that, maybe just make programs available. Like I know for myself, when I went to jail, like my sister actually was a social worker at the institution where I was at the time. And even with like her helping me advocate and my parents on the outside trying to get me into treatment to get the gains assessment and everything done, it I couldn't even, I was in there, I think that stint was like 2.5 months or something, and still couldn't even get it out, get it all done so that when I got out, I could go to a treatment center, and I was willing. And with these types of things with addicts, you like, if someone's willing to do it, it almost needs to be like now. like you need to be able to do it now, because like
Yeah.
tomorrow might be the day that you die, right? So
That's right.
and that's just the stark reality of addiction. So, but
It's a terrible thing. It's like it's like you said though. It's you have to figure out the why, and not just like blanket everybody into one thing, right? So
exactly.
yeah. Got a music question, Dog?
No.
Like actually,
What did you guys
No.
think of the song? It's not quite in the same kind of spectrum as some of the other songs. I'm sort of making a musical shift a little bit into more on the blues soul
Mhm.
kind of vibe, maybe a little pop folk. Some of the songs that are going to be coming out in the next little while, going to be kind of testing the waters with a bunch of different stuff. But
Well, that's what we said when we listened to it. We were listening. It said definitely the first thing that popped into our heads was it was bluesy. Like just the beginning of it's like, okay, yeah. And we listened to, I didn't follow your directions very well. So I listened to the first one. I was like, oh, maybe we should listen. Oh, and then I realized, he said to listen to the second one.
Yeah.
So yes, we listened to that. And we both love it. It's, it's definitely you. We can tell it's you, but it's exciting to hear, some different, musicianship, I would say in the song.
Yeah, your growth, I would say, because you've certainly gotten like, I think you as a blues artist is actually really good for you. Like that's who, you know what I mean? Like your voice really goes that way. So it's actually a really nice progression.
Yeah, exactly. I've been working on a lot of different stuff in that kind of more in that realm. So I'm excited about that because I think you're right. I think it's like it feels more natural to me, and I think like sometimes artists can get kind of trapped like in feeling like they need to make the music that is popular, say at the time or whatever, but like it just doesn't really work. If you can if you can straddle the line and keep it authentic to yourself, then by all means, like if you don't feel like you're compromising yourself as an artist, then that's fine. I think that can work, but I think a lot of times the people that do the best they're very authentic, and then people buy into that authenticity, and then you have your core kind of group of people that like your stuff, and then it kind of grows from there, right?
Yeah. Well, we grow with you, right? As an artist, we knew Jake when he did this, and now we're following him here with this new song, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, most people who do appreciate the art, and I think it's different for us too when we know you. You know what I mean? So we're like, oh man, this is great for Jake. This sounds so good. You know what I mean? It's that we're invested because we know you.
Exactly, and that's kind of the thing that I've talked to some branding kind of experts and whatnot, and trying to figure out kind of that whole thing, and saying like leading with the music and then allowing people to fall in love with the music and then get to know the artist is probably a better route, because like for me, I kind of run the risk of like being known as the mental health advocate that does music.
Mhm.
But I'm a musician, like I'm a songwriter through and through. That's what I do. I write music. And it's pretty much consumes most of my my free time, right? That's like basically what I do. So to only be known as the mental health addict, but I guess trying to like weave that narrative together, that it's synonymous, kind of thing. And
That's what too. Like that's
exactly,
like,
yeah, and it's a common thread. It's a narrative
Mhm.
within the branding of me or whatever who I am. So I don't know any other way to be. So I'm just gonna keep doing it. It feels good. So until it doesn't,
So
then,
fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's
who
part of
cares?
you. It's not the whole of you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And people will understand that when they listen to you and stuff. Yes, you advocate, but you're also like that's part of Jake Demarsh. That's not all of Jake Demarsh.
Exactly, yeah. It's just it's a deep well for content creation. I think sometimes as an artist that has a story like this, it's like, I probably should talk more about the music and stuff, but I've been trying to tie the narrative to the music, which, I mean, what was it, 4 years ago or so, I had no idea even how to like make a post on Instagram. Now I'm like going over analytics and all this crazy stuff that just makes you want to like hit your head on the wall. But because it doesn't, I don't
exhausting.
even know what it means, man.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, you had a 9.7 watch time and 40 likes. It's like a 200 views. It's like, okay, doesn't make any sense. But
Well,
all
this
right.
is the world we live in now, right? Though.
Yeah, and I think a lot of artists would resonate with them because it just feels like the never-ending carrot. You're just chasing like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to go viral or whatever. So I just forgot all about that, and I just want to make stuff that I feel like will connect with the people that already are into what I'm doing, and just try to get that to land. And I don't really care too much about the numbers or whatever because it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, some of the coolest opportunities have just come from like my Instagram or my website or whatever. Just people hit me up going, "Hey, like, do you want to play this show or do you want to speak at this thing or do you want to do this or whatever?" Right? So I don't think like if you're not trying to get signed to a label, then I don't think you need 25,000, 40,000, 30,000 followers or whatever. Plus, if you ever see people's Instagram, sometimes you see them and like their engagement is like so shite. It's like you have 80,000 followers. Oh yeah, well you got 300 views on your last video.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, they bought
anything can be inflated. Even the numbers of like Spotify, they say there's bot farms and phone farms where like they're literally like jacking up stuff and all that. So it's like, kind of like who cares?
Yep.
Yeah, the thing with content, and I've said this before, is just put what you want out, and it's similar to writing a song. I mean, that you're going to write something you want for yourself, and then if anybody else likes it, great. But the thing with the content is we always overthink it and think that we should create something, and then it has to be perfect, and this and that, and then all of a sudden you put it out, and you're like, I'm so proud of it, and then you get like 4 likes. But it's like, who gives a shit? You have to just put it out there and not worry about it. I was like, you care more about it like than they do. So just put it out there, and then it's content, and then whatever else comes from it, great. Like if you can get a few leads on other opportunities for yourself, then great. But that's going to come anyway because you do put out content and music, and then people will reach out. I think it's organic. The best way to do it is organically. We started with 0 followers, and then now we're almost at 1,000. So it's like, I'm excited about that, but it's like, that took time, and it also took, committing to just putting out content, right? So
consistency is key, as they say. But
That's
yeah,
right.
no, I mean, it's great. I really like what you guys do with this podcast and this thing. I mean, it's cool to give a voice to the musicians and artists and businesses even that work in the surrounding area. It's really cool.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I really appreciate
I mean,
it.
we hate each other, but we're still just doing it.
It's like we're divorced and we have to be in the same room at certain points for to do this, and then because he won't let me do it from home anymore because it kind of discombobulated. A couple of times we did it when I was at my place and he was here. It was just too weird.
Well, I feel alone, man. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm all alone.
It is kind of weird. I prefer to not meet like that. I mean, this is fine, but it's cool to.
Sure, it is, Jake. Thanks.
Like when I went on CBC to talk about like my life after jail or whatever, and they're like, "Do you want to do it on a call?" And I'm like, "Hell no! I want to go and see this place. I want to see what it's like."
Seriously,
sure.
And then as soon as I did, I was like, kind of regretted it at first because like I barely met the host before we started, right? So it was like producer, executive producer, blah blah blah, and then you get into the place and it's like a girl I haven't even met, and they're like gonna ask me all these questions about like my past life and all this. So like I just remember like putting on the headphones and like I was like I wasn't nervous at all until like they're like counting down to the going live on air, and then it was like I could just feel my heart beating in the headphones because they're like noise canceling. I was just like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, because you guys remember I was pretty nervous the first time I ever talked with you guys too. It's just something about that caring too much about what people think. So I'm slowly shedding that. But it was funny. I talked to my uncle. He's like, oh, your cousins heard you on the radio. They're like, hey, I heard Jake on CBC. So then they're like way out in where are they? In like around Barrie area. I guess if you know that.
Yeah,
they were listening apparently.
Mm-hmm. My sister lives in Barrie.
Cool. It's a nice spot.
Very nice, yeah.
Jake, when we first talked to you, we were nervous too. So
were you?
Oh yeah, like I don't think we'd done many shows. He's nodding
I think
no,
he
but
did
he's full
too.
of shit.
I think it was like the second one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like it
so
was
you were
new.
very close to being. Yeah, I think it was.
It was
Yeah,
Mark, then you.
Yeah.
I think you were second.
Mm.
Like Mark
yeah.
Leo.
And then Rebecca.
yeah. Rebecca was right up there for sure.
Amanda Rayon.
Amanda, and then
the third one, which that was nerve wracking because like Dawg was like, she's a real real.
She's been
artist.
around for 15 years. I know her
And
stuff.
I'm like, I really know her well, so we're gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. But well,
she's
yeah,
a
we were all
sweetheart.
nervous. I mean, it was new for us too. So like, even sometimes now we'll be chatting with somebody and we're nervous. I mean, it's just normal, but it's in the end, we're just having a chat for an hour, and talking about music or talking about stuff that we actually enjoy, which is great. And it's this is like my little, for me, it's like I get away from the craziness of my life and I get to enjoy a little bit of relaxing time to talk about something that I enjoy. And you, I mean, you're just here because I make you come.
Yeah, because my name's on the.
Well, you have top billing.
Where is it? There it is.
Dawg is top
Dog.
dog.
Is this exclusively on this app now? Are you putting it on Spotify anymore? Or are you
It's everywhere.
boycott them?
No.
Everywhere?
No.
So this is an app just to use to
To do
interview.
the stream. Yeah.
And then I can cut it all here. I'll make short clips here. Like I can do it all through this thing.
Nice.
And then
okay, it's just a
this goes
thing.
straight to Spotify, like for podcasters, which in essence goes to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And then we also put the whole video up on YouTube.
I know.
So if you're not
'cause there's been-
subscribed to our YouTube page, you should be.
well, check it out. At least I think I probably am though. I probably did that a long time ago, but
Freaking
I will
better be,
definitely
bud.
check it out. But there's a lot of murmurings around. I've been seeing posts of artists saying that they want to boycott Spotify just because the average person on Spotify, if you're not a top tier artist, is like $12 a month, and I think Tidal's paying more. And
Yeah,
people are
it's
saying
bad.
I'm gonna push it on that instead. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be like a non-union strike on Spotify. They'll just do like a walk-off. You know, like just
don't
everybody
think-
all the time at the same time just pull their music.
Seriously,
off.
all the indie artists.
That would be sick. I mean,
Interesting.
If you're gonna make a change, that's the only way to do it. We put it there
Well,
because
I mean-
I have to put it there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Yeah, exactly. Like
you
you feel like
know.
you have no choice, but like, yeah, it's just that's what I like. I respect the fact that it is a business model, and as a music listener, I think it's amazing. As a music creator, it's shit. So
Yeah, it's
that's
bad.
basically, you know.
And they raised their prices again, and they're making record profits. Like the guy that owns it's worth like $7 or $8 billion,
Yeah.
and he's never picked up
exactly.
a
Instrument?
in his life.
I use Tidal for when I do the Doghouse sessions. I use that
There you
that.
go. Yeah.
And when I'm putting the shows together with all you wonderful people out there, the last one did really well, like the one for Johnny. So I'm very happy with that. But yeah, I use that a lot. I don't use
Consistency, man. Just be
He
consistent.
I don't
also
use
said he said Daniel X said something like, "Oh, it costs almost nothing to make music these days." It's like what
He's
kind
full
of
of
music
shit.
are you talking about? Like, yeah, maybe if you can make it all on a computer, which some people can, but if you're talking about like music with instruments and things like that, like you need a lot of different stuff. Like it costs a fortune, you know. You go to a
Totally.
professional studio, especially you actually get penalized if your song is too quiet. If the LUF, I think it's called, I forget what it stands for, but if it's too loud or too quiet, you actually get charged so that it's because they have to compress it and do it themselves.
Okay.
So you get charged if your song's too quiet, or they'll bring it up in volume, but it'll hurt your streaming revenue.
Oh man,
So instead of like a quarter of a penny, you're
You're
getting
it's less than that. It's 0.003, I think, is the percentage of a cent.
that's fucked up. That is
And
fucked
they
up.
also made it so that if you don't get over 1,000 streams on your song, they're not going to pay you. So if you think about like 100,000 new songs a day, how many of those do you think stay under 1,000 streams? Probably a lot
Yeah.
that never even get listened to. So, you know,
It's terrible.
It's a tricky business, man. But
Yeah, it's not fair. That's for sure. It's in the wrong
not really.
place.
yeah. I think you hit it on the head when you said it's more for music listeners and music producers, like people who make music.
Yeah, people make it, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Well, I mean, there's
Well,
that
that's
1%,
just it,
right?
right? Like, yeah, there's top
doesn't need
tiers, and even the people that make more streams, they actually pay them more. But it's not much more. It's like 0.004 or something percent. So they actually, yeah, it's sort of like payola. Remember back in the day with
Yep.
the radio? It's like, they may not necessarily, be paying to be on there, but like they kind of have like slots for like, hey, like they're in bed with the record labels for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the record,
You know what I mean?
I think radio stations are a business and they want to make money. So they're not going to put people that on the show, no offense to all these indie artists that are amazing, but they're going to put on people who are going to keep people listening to the shows. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's what, because I was talking with somebody about that a while back about one of our radio stations. They used to play a lot of the indie stuff, and now they've kind of gravitated away from it because it's not making them money. It's not giving them up in the rankings. It's, you know what I mean? It's just, which is sad. But I mean, it's like, we have to rely on CKCU and the other one from Ottawa University as well.
Yeah. OUCC.
But have you
OU.
heard the kind of music they play on community radio station sometimes?
Well, different. Yeah.
It's
I've heard some,
it's not for the normal, I would say, like society's palette of what you normally hear on the radio, which is cool, but it's almost like way too far the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
like
I
I've
agree.
listened to a couple of shows at lunchtime, and like you wouldn't even know that you were listening to a radio show. Like it was just like experimental. I don't know if it was just a certain hour that I was listening to it, but it was just very, very different. And I don't think people would be listening to that kind of thing, to be honest.
it's the colleges, right? I think it's like college radio. It's always been.
Well, if you're flipping through the stations and then you get to something that's just like completely out of left field, I think people are more likely to change the channel, right?
It's true.
True story.
Because people like what everyone else likes, it seems. It's like kind of,
sheepish.
Yeah, I would say. And I mean, but you're always
They're all
going to
a bunch
have
of
those like
sheep.
early adopters, right?
It's
of
true.
People that like they only like you until you get big enough till they're like, nah, everybody knows.
Too big. Fuckers.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
likes him now. I don't like him anymore.
Like the punk scene.
Yeah.
Quickly, 80s or 90s?
80s or 90s? Well, you've asked me this before, and I do like the 90s music just because it's closer to. I played a lot of 90s music growing up on drums and things like that, but I do like a good 80s hair metal song.
So that's the 80s, I guess you said?
I'm going with hearing 80s. Yep.
Fine.
Yeah. Let's go. I said 90s last time, so.
There you go. See?
Yeah, you guys switch it up, just to keep us both happy. Jake, we love you, man. Thanks for coming on and spending some time with us. Look forward to keep releasing some new stuff and some live stuff that we'll go and see in 4 months.
Yeah, man.
And by we,
Sounds good.
Oh, I'm going to try.
you're going to try.
I'm going to try. 4 months.
You got 4 months to put it in your calendar.
When is that?
May.
April, May.
Yeah. And it's not.
So
It's
last
after.
Saturday in
It's
May.
after the CMA Awards. It's later on in the month
Are
of
we
May.
going to that?
I am. I don't know if you're going to come.
My boycott it.
I'm sure they'll miss you.
They won't miss me at all.
Exactly.
Although it did get us a lead to talk to the mayor.
It did.
We'll go from there.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah. Jake, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
care.
Thanks, Jake.
Just stay for a sec.
Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus.